of spending money on things that matter to customers and not spending money on things that don't. We believe that this is a critical category formation time.
Bezos uses the same kind of Wall Street wonk talk when he talks or thinks about almost anything.
They say Amazon began with a door, not a metaphor, not an image created in hindsight, but a literal hollow-core door balanced on 4 wooden legs in a makeshift office. Jeff Bezos used that desk when he was building what would become one of the most valuable companies in the world. Over time, that door became an icon. It symbolized scrappiness, humility, and the belief that even the biggest ideas can start small. The story of the door desk and the garage startup has been told so many times that it has become folklore. It comforts us. It suggests that anyone with nothing but grit and vision can build an empire. But folklore is not always the full story. The reality is more complicated. Bezos was not struggling when he launched Amazon. He was already a senior vice president at the hedge fund D.E. Shaw, earning $250,000 a year in the mid-1990s, a salary equivalent to nearly $500,000 today. His parents invested almost $250,000 before Amazon ever sold a single book. The garage, the desk, the image of the underdog, these were not necessities. They were branding. Bezos could afford to fail, and yet the story still inspires. Why? Because when we see that door desk, we instinctively ask ourselves, what's my excuse? But perhaps the better question is, what's my advantage? Entrepreneurship is often presented as a tale of impossible odds. We admire the lone visionary who risks everything and somehow prevails. And grit does matter, but grit alone is rarely enough. Privilege, whether financial, social, or educational, plays a role in every so-called self-made story. Bezos had the safety net of wealth and supportive parents. If Amazon failed, he would not be destitute. For many people, failure means losing everything, and that changes the equation. And Bezos is not alone. Apple's garage startup is legendary, but Steve Jobs had access to the Homebrew Computer Club, a rare community of tech enthusiasts experimenting with early computers. He had a stepfather who introduced him to electronics. Google began in a Stanford dorm, but Stanford provided resources, mentorship, and connections to Silicon Valley investors. Facebook was coded in a Harvard dorm, an environment steeped in privilege and surrounded by elite networks. These are not rags to riches stories. They are stories of talent amplified by circumstance, skill accelerated by access, and ideas nurtured in fertile environments. To say this diminishes nothing. It simply acknowledges reality. The question then becomes, if privilege plays such a role, what advantage do you have? Because here is the truth. Today, you may hold more power and access than Jobs, Bezos, or Gates had when they started. Every transformative journey begins with an audacious goal. Drake declared that he would one day become the biggest rapper in the world. People laughed at the audacity of a young actor from a Canadian teen drama making such a claim. And yet, he made it real. LeBron James was still a teenager when he spoke openly about wanting to become the greatest basketball player who ever lived. That kind of ambition sounded arrogant, even reckless. But he chased it anyway, and in many eyes, he has fulfilled it. Bezos imagined an online bookstore larger than anything the physical world could hold, at a time when most people still used dial-up internet. His idea sounded absurd. What separates people like Drake, LeBron, or Bezos is not the uniqueness of their dreams. Many people have bold dreams. What separates them is the willingness to pursue those dreams, to risk failure, and to take action when it would have been far easier to play it safe. Psychologists call this the audacity advantage. Those who articulate bold goals and pursue them, even imperfectly, tend to outperform those who set smaller, more cautious goals. Audacity forces creativity. It demands resourcefulness. It pushes you to grow into someone capable of meeting the goal you once thought impossible. If bold dreams are so powerful, why don't more of us act on them? Why do we hesitate, procrastinate, or convince ourselves that tomorrow is a better time to start? The answer lies in psychology. Human beings are wired to favor immediate comfort over long-term reward. This is known as temporal discounting. The pleasure of scrolling through a feed or binge-watching a show feels tangible right now. The satisfaction of building a business or writing a book feels distant, abstract, and uncertain. We choose the now, even when the future cost is enormous. Fear of failure compounds the problem. Neuroscientists have shown that failure activates the same regions of the brain as physical pain. No wonder we avoid it. The mere thought of trying and falling short makes many people retreat into safety. And even when failure is unlikely, imposter syndrome whispers that we are not good enough, not ready, not worthy. Studies show that more than 70% of professionals experience imposter syndrome at some point in their careers. To make matters worse, we suffer from survivorship bias. We hear endlessly about Bezos, Jobs, Musk, and Oprah, the survivors. We rarely hear about the countless others who tried and failed. This distorted lens convinces us that the odds are impossibly slim, so why bother? But time keeps moving. Whether we act or not, the clock does not pause. Bezos made his decision to leave D.E. Shaw by creating what he called the regret minimization framework. He asked himself, "When I'm 80, will I regret not trying this?" The answer was yes. That made the choice clear. You may not have wealthy parents or a Wall Street salary to fall back on, but you have something extraordinary that no generation before you has ever possessed. You have a supercomputer in your pocket with more processing power than NASA had when it sent astronauts to the moon. You have access to virtually unlimited knowledge through free resources like YouTube, Coursera, and MIT's OpenCourseWare. You have global platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Substack, and Shopify, where you can reach millions overnight. You have tools like AI, automation, and low-code platforms that allow one person to do what once required an entire team. Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks are filled with sketches of inventions he never had the tools to build. Imagine what he would have created with your phone. Marie Curie scraped by on scholarships and borrowed lab space, fighting through prejudice to pursue her discoveries. Imagine what she would have achieved with today's equipment. Thomas Edison had little formal schooling, but he grew up in an era of telegraphs and railroads that fueled his creativity. Oprah Winfrey faced poverty and trauma, but she had the privilege of charisma and early exposure to radio that opened doors. J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter as a struggling single mother, but she had libraries, publishers, and a culture that valued literature. Elon Musk was not born poor. His family had wealth. But his true advantage was timing. He was positioned perfectly to ride the wave of the 1990s internet boom. Serena Williams grew up in Compton with limited resources, but she had a father with vision and relentless training, and she turned that into one of the greatest careers in sports history. Privilege comes in many forms. Sometimes it is money. Sometimes it is timing. Sometimes it is environment. The question is not whether you have privilege, but whether you are using the advantages you do have. Time is the ultimate privilege. Money can be lost and earned again. Skills can be learned. Opportunities can be created. But time, once gone, cannot be recovered. Every morning, you are presented with a choice. You can delay, you can scroll, you can let another day slip past, or you can take a step forward, however small. Most people choose the delay. They convince themselves tomorrow will be different. But every delay is a decision too. Generations before you lived and died without the faintest opportunity to choose a path beyond survival. Billions alive today will never know the luxury of asking, "What are my dreams?" But you do. You can. The garage story may have been myth. The door desk may have been branding. But your opportunity is real, and it is fleeting. The privilege of chasing your dreams is not about where you start. It is not about whether your parents can invest in you, or whether you begin in a garage or a mansion. It is about what you choose to do now, with the tools, the knowledge, and the time you have been given. Do not waste it. Do not delay. Do not tell yourself that tomorrow will be different. Pursue your dream, not because you owe it to yourself, but because you can. Because billions before you never had the chance. Because billions alive today still don't. Because the greatest privilege in human history is sitting in your hands right now. Your advantage is real. Your time is fragile. The question is simple. What will you do with it? If you've enjoyed this video, then you'll definitely enjoy the video showing on your screen right now. Click now, and we'll see you in the next one.